Hello, for the first time in a while, and welcome to the Cubicorn Games Podcast. My name is Dustin Morbido. We are going to get back into it, talking about our game dev progress, some things we've been playing, some stuff we've been doing, and joining me for all of that, Lorraine Morbido is here.
It's true. I was there for all of it.
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks. We've worked on a bunch of stuff. We got a build out the door, talk about future stuff coming to Super Cucumber in a little bit. We went on vacation.
Oh my god. It wasn't a con.
Played a handful of things here and there. How have you been holding up, Lorraine? How are you now that we're kind of back? How are you doing? Basically back to real life?
I think I've mostly resettled. We got back, not in like podcast posting day, but like the day we're recording this, it's been a week since we've been back. And I think I'm mostly like, because I mean, I had like one kind of like rest day and then it was right back to work. So like my flow didn't get too disrupted. I worked the day before we left. But yeah, I think it was a much needed sort of break. We haven't done something like that in about like 5.5 years, give or take. We weren't showing anything at all. Like any other trip we've done in that kind of interim has always been, we're going to a convention, we're spending our time there. Maybe if we have energy, which generally we don't, around it, we're doing other stuff. But most of our days are in the convention center, at the table, and then dying in our hotel room afterwards.
Yeah, so it's all for fun. Still pretty busy.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Orlando for about a week and a half.
Orlando, Florida.
Did a bunch of theme park stuff. We'll get into that more near the back half
But yeah,
of this chat.
What about you?
For those interested, I'm doing pretty good, I think. We just started talking about more game dev stuff. I have a ton of stuff that needs to get done. I know a lot of work on music is in my future. I've got to finish up at least a base pass on Tower 5 level design stuff. Got to get the Tower 5 boss fight up and running, get that laboratory fucking complete and ready to go in some form.
Yeah.
Like ready to be tested at least, like front to back. You did some great work in the last couple days on like preliminary art for that stuff. It's going good.
Yeah.
I got some useful information from the people who played the latest update. Thank you guys for doing that in the Discord. I'll definitely need more of it, so I'm still going to have to try to probably track some people down, like once we have laboratory stuff front to back.
I'm not going to lie. I did kind of completely forget that you wanted me to record
Oh, that's fine.
gameplay. I was
Again,
just thinking about that now. I was like, oh, we had that
you
conversation
can do
like
that
a day or two
at some
ago.
point. You could even maybe defer it until I have the other couple of levels up in some form, because that's what I'm gonna have to really start shaking people down and be like, hey, now that this is complete, quote unquote, now that there's like one level in each place where there's supposed to be a level in the final game, I think I'm just gonna have to like borrow and steal people to
I mean, I do think
to
that,
record
like,
a playthrough of it just so I can see it front to back from a couple different perspectives and then iterate from there.
especially like this tower is more unique in the fact that I think that's a bit more required than just like a mostly linear like platforming sequence. It's a little weirder, a little more obtuse. Like when I look at being in the level and then seeing it in the Unity editor is such a weird feeling, because those spaces are so small, but they feel enormous with the rotation. And I think it's much harder to like test fail safes in like a closed environment. You need more people taking the hammers to the walls and trying to see what they can break or how they can get stuck.
Again, I think it's a couple of, like you described, it's one of the more mechanically complex like worlds we've ever built, and it's at a point of the game where you do kind of need to know everything before it, and so it just has not been played by the same number of people that a lot of the earlier stuff has, because we've still done the same thing of just like observing people play. And I just haven't had as much opportunity to do that with this, because so many fewer people are going to get that far in any instance while we're like hovering over their shoulder or whatever, especially to show or something.
When we're actively showing something, like only smart asses are picking the last tower without doing other stuff beforehand. And then they're like, this is hard. And then they go back to what we recommended when they sat down of like, hey, the level all the way to your left is the tutorial.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, we do have a handful of people who've got some of those prereqs that we're in touch with. So it'll just kind of be like, hey, with an astronomical amount of whys to get their attention.
We'll figure some stuff out, but it's gonna, definitely we'll need some more iteration on that stuff. I'm hoping some of those bug fixes took. I didn't necessarily see, because there's just a slight handful of things like that. The weird jet cycles in Tower 3, and I'm trying to remember other stuff that got fixed in that build. Fixed in quotes, like
touched.
yeah,
acted upon.
I have to hope that it's actually fixed. But overall, pretty happy getting that out the door. And I'm thinking our cadence now will still be.
I honestly kind of forgot that happened because we were pushing really hard for it, and then we went on the vacation, and there's like such a big like gulf in my head between pre and post vacation because that like week and a half or so were just so intense.
Yeah, I've got to really freaking get my ass in gear to get some new stuff out the door. But I think our cadence from this point will be builds for the next 2 months, like 2 months apart for the next, roughly 6 months. We'll have a build in November, we'll have a build in January, and we'll have a build in March. And then at that point, we may or may not
post public builds.
Yeah, we'll just we're gonna kind of see where we're at and then go from there. That might be the stopping point for like completely open public builds in the Discord. It might not be. That's like where our heads have kind of been leaning towards this whole time.
Yeah.
But like we'll see where we're at. We'll see how much of the game is done. We'll
theoretically, if our plan is as it should be, we should hopefully have at least by like that March date or whatever, hopefully earlier. In theory, we would like to have the like critical path mostly, if not completely, mapped out at the very least.
Yeah,
and then diving into spit and polish
the base
and like
game
new
should
game
be
plus stuff.
should be pretty close to being done at that point.
Features.
I mean, honestly, should be like again complete with the exception of like light tweaks, and then we'll have all the secret stuff to do, like you said, a bunch of little polishing up and like tidying up to do, and the whole year after that will be, a whirlwind of activity. But we'll get there when we get there, one day at a time. But yeah, it's coming along. And again, I'm optimistic about the stuff we've talked about over the weekend and we've gotten into over the last couple days. New boss fight stuff is always exciting. Should be a good time when we get that in there.
I've got like initial pass assets for the laboratory fight. We've done a lot more fight flow, I guess, for lack of a better word, of like what, because we've had an idea of like what's gonna happen. Like we kind of nailed that down a couple months ago, but more like realized versions of that. Like we hadn't gotten into that nitty gritty until recently, post trip basically. And with that, I was able to put together a more solid like prototype collection of assets to get put in there and then see what happens.
And if you want to keep up to date on all that stuff, if you want to play the next build, definitely join our Discord server, which you can join by going to cubecorngames.com and click on the Discord link, or just go to Steam, search for Super Cucumber, wishlist it while you're there, and click the Discord link on that Steam page as well. Yeah, this stuff should all be pretty exciting, and I'm looking forward to talking about it more as we get deeper into it again. I think it'll be fun to have a more complete rundown of hopefully the base pass that boss fight in the next couple weeks here. We'll see how it goes, but that's on my horizon to game dev wise is boss fights, music, and level design. So much of all of it. Oh my gosh. The rest of this year is going to be crazy, but yeah, we just gotta
among other reasons.
Yeah, we gotta keep hustling. But other than all that, I have dabbled in a game or two.
Same.
I finished Astrobot finally, like truly 100%ed it. I don't really have anything to add on that other than that game's still really cool. The last couple of things, there were one or two extra things that I even, more than I expected of all those little secret levels, like the ones that kind of unlock when you hit the warps along the main path. There's a kind of a hub secret level to all those. That was a little bit of a surprise. There's the, when you beat the base game, it unlocks a bunch of little challenge levels in the top left quadrant of the galaxy or whatever. And that, after you beat all those, the individual challenges, there's one more string together challenge level. And then the big finale level that's spawned off of the kind of little hub world was also quite challenging. But I finally knocked it out the other day after a hot little bit of trial and error there.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember where I was the last podcast, but I have Platinum Digimon World next order. I did that. I think it was actually really soon after the last one, if I hadn't already done it. Just grinding shit out. I had a good time, and Time Stranger's coming up, baby. Can't wait. But I also played an Astro game. I played Astro's Playroom, which is the precursor to Astrobot in a lot of ways. Very much a pack-in PS5 tech demo that wow, what a tech demo.
Because I never went back and played it, so you're the only one of us who's actually played
and I haven't played
thing.
Astrobot, but just watching you, it looks like his control seems basically identical. He's got the jump, the little laser jets, he's got a punch, he's got a charge up punch, doesn't just run off edges, he skates when he gets on ice, all kinds of that. And I did actually yesterday, I platinumed it, and all of there were 2 add-ons apparently. One, I don't know how their cadence came out, but I know one of them was closer to Astrobot coming out, and the other one might have just been shortly after the game initially released. Because there's references too, and there's a spot in the there's a secret lab that has more because you get you pick up artifacts, and they're literally just all pieces of PlayStation hardware from the PS1 on. The most obscure things in some cases, like the PS2 buzzer controllers for that one game,
that Chris thing,
iToy, PSP accessories, the PSP Go, which I did not know existed, the various light gun things they have, move controllers, all that shit, the microphones, literally everything. And with the capstone of that being the in the last, after you beat the boss fight, the final boss or whatever, there's here's the PlayStation 5 and a controller and one other thing with it, their headphones or whatever that came with it. And then after that, it was oh, here's other iterations of the PS5, the VR headset upgrade, all these other things. And then there was stuff that actually more explicitly tied in with Astrobot. They had secret bots and all of the 4 little worlds that they had. And I also read they maybe transfer forward into Astrobot. I don't know what that means, but we'll see if it recognizes that I have Astro's Playroom save data. But it's a nice, tight little game. There's 4 worlds with 4 levels apiece, and they you kind of seamlessly flow from one to the next. There are clear delineations between them. You enter an area, a title card kind of pops up, and 9 times out of 10 it will close a door behind you or block some way off so you can't go back into it, or you go down a slide you can't climb back up, and you can just fast travel to any of the ones you've been to at literally any moment from anywhere. Whatever map you're on, you can just immediately instantly reload the level you're in, go to another one. When I was finishing up collectible stuff, I was just doing that. I was yeah, we're done here, get out. But it's really cute. Obviously very gimmicky because it's showing off what you can do with the PS4 controller. But it was a lot of fun. I had a really good time. It did take me maybe 10 hours to do everything in it.
Okay.
When we were hanging out in Discord with those guys the other night, I think it took me 3 hours to beat the main game. Literally just playing level, and kept going. But it was fun. It's really cute. I can very much see the through line to how much more they did in Astrobot versus this one. There's not as much, but there's still some of that quirky little cute charm that's in there, and then seeing what they can do with a full game, it's wow, yeah, they knocked that out of the park even more. But it's so cute. I really like Astro. He's just a cute little guy. Bots are all really silly. One of my favorite things, because there's no story. You're just literally, you're in the ship that you're repairing, I believe, in Astrobot. So those little things you were getting back to slot into the PS5, that's what you're going into for these levels.
Okay.
So they're color coded. It's the green, red, pink, and blue or whatever. And once you do those, you unlock a boss fight, and it's with a fucking low poly T-Rex, and the aspect ratio goes 4:3 for the fight, and then you fight another one and it goes widescreen, you do a little more. It was really cute. I liked the low poly T-Rex. He's teased in other areas too. I don't know if he was a tech demo or something for early PlayStation shit, because he's in a few other spots. There's just T-Rexes for some reason, but that was really cute. And the kind of capstone, which I believe was added, at least to my experience, I believe it was added in one of the add-on packs, was a little time trial mode. There's 8 little completely curated levels of oh, you're going through the 4 environments as Astro, and then the 4 environments with their respective suits, because every 2 levels, all the even levels are you're in a little transformation, and then you get out of it, go do another one, and you go back and do it, and they're bespoke to their little quadrants or whatever. I fucking hate the monkey one. It's terrible. It's very infuriating, and they're all very explicitly motion controlled and or touchpad controlled.
Okay.
Because I found the monkey one extremely unintuitive, and I was banging my head against it most of the times. But I was really impressed with those little time trial levels. The Astro ones were really fun. They weren't super long. Because the only reason I went into do them because I knew there was a trophy for getting because they record your individual time trials, and then they record your max time for all of them. You had to get under 7 minutes on all these 8 levels, and I did that fairly handedly by getting sub 60 / sub 50 on all of them. The monkey one was my highest one, and I fucking hate that.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I haven't played that. I'm not. So is it just like you kind of tilt to raise the arms like back and forth to climb stuff? Is that the thing? 'Cause
Yeah,
that's what it
but
is in Astrobot.
you have to like tilt it like in what felt like the other way than what I would have thought you would be doing it. I don't know. There was something like there was a. I don't know if it was maybe it was just me.
I think it
and
was
you
like
had to
like if you wanted to raise the right arm, at least in Astrobot, you had to tilt the controller up to the right. You know.
Maybe I couldn't tell you. I honestly don't know.
But I will
'cause
say
I figured it out.
that again, that stuff exists in Astrobot too, and it was either the time trial level or the challenge level or both that use that mechanic. That like I did use it with motion controls for most of the time I played the game, but I had to turn it off for the harder stuff because it just was not responsive enough.
No.
Like it just didn't work.
Because the other thing that's really
well
annoying
enough
about
to work under pressure.
the other thing that's really annoying about it is that you'll get these like tightrope bars that you need to swing around. So you have to like move the controller
Yep, that's
up
all
and
the same
down,
stuff.
and it's
Okay.
just it fucking sucks. Because I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if it's my arthritic hands at this point, but like holding the triggers down for such a long time in certain games really fucking hurts.
Oh gosh.
Like I can't do it. And so you have to hold the triggers down constantly while doing this. So and like releasing at the right time and releasing the right one and everything. So doing those sections really hurt my hands. And I because none of the other ones were really that bad, because like there was there's the monkey suit, there's a like frog suit where you're like holding the trigger to compact a spring and tilting the controller to pick your arc, releasing it and then jumping in that arc. One of them was like a rocket ship where you're controlling both jets with either trigger and tilting to move. Neither of those hurt my hands like the monkey one did. I don't know what's up with that. And then the third one was a ball where you're like actually like fucking top swing. Those like golf machines, the big cabinets. You're like moving your hand like a trackpad on the touch screen of the PlayStation controller to control its roll like specifically. But just the monkey one fucked me up like physically, and I didn't like it.
I mean, again, I'm not surprised by that necessarily, but
And they had
cute.
those like pressure sensitive ones where like if you push down all the way, you would just break it. And in the time trial one, they kept fucking me up because like I was so stressed, so I was crushing the trigger, and so they would break, and I was just mad.
After playing that, can you kind of see like you said, I guess they had added on to it later at some point too, presumably as an advertisement for the full product. But,
I literally said there is a link to the PlayStation Store to go buy Astrobot.
But I'm trying to say like
in game.
In attempting to divorce yourself from that part of the thing specifically, could you see like, oh, I get why they greenlit a full product
Yes,
based on
100%.
this.
It's super cute. The character is really strong. I think he meshes well with a lot of the other PlayStation specific ones. Like I know you didn't recognize the two cats, but I did. Those are like
I recognize
PSP to Vita like era, like PS3 guys.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things. So each of the this is somewhat of a side tangent, but all 4 of the areas are based off of a different console generation. It's PS1 one. They have, and like in those ones they have like accessory, like the little artifacts you're finding are all accessories for that system or that era of system. But when you get to the end of the 4th level, you'll get like the actual console, and there's like a whole thing. But the areas you get them in are based off of their like load in and or menu music. And like hearing, especially with the PS2 one, hearing that like blah before the city lights come in, or seeing like the icons in the sky for the PS3 like menu, those like really simple like that like dial based menu they had, or like and like the PS4 one too, like all, and the fucking like Sony into PlayStation logo for the PS1 is so iconic, like that sound clip. Like seeing those and hearing that and being in those areas, I was really nostalgic. Like it really got me. Because we didn't have a PlayStation growing up. Like that was just, we got a PS2 when I was in like late high school. Because a friend of my sister's got a PS3 and didn't need his PS2 anymore. And then was more exposed to those games once we started dating. But that brand is pretty iconic. Like I think it's got some good, like, maybe just because it's so old, like back then it was a little more like you were kind of building more of like a brand instead of just a platform for doing literally everything on the internet.
Sure.
So I think those roots in the PlayStation brand are really strong. Because like even just like seeing like the PSP and the Vita on there, like I mean I love my Vita still to this day. I haven't picked it up recently, but I've definitely thought about it more often than not. Like
Just the fact that they did do that stuff at some point. The rumor is they still might do another actual dedicated handheld, but that's like a, 50-50.
One of the artifacts was that damn fucking PS5 streaming thing with the big screen and the controller, whatever that thing is called. I don't remember.
Because as a PSP owner, the PSP was still a pretty compromised product. It kind of sucked pretty hard in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But the Vita was good across the board. It was just a solid little device.
I loved my Vita.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame that they kneecapped that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I would say kind of before its time. I don't even remember how many years the Vita lived, but it feels like the Vita brand should have lived longer than it did.
I think, because it was after the PS3 launched, right?
I mean, I think it was in the PS4 era. I think it only existed over the course of the PS4 era. I'd have to double check that.
I thought it was maybe I'm just maybe the PSP was a little more linked to the 3. I don't remember. But I know you could remote play a PS4 on the Vita. Yeah. I did that. That's how I played the vast majority of my early hours of Digimon World Zero.
The Vita mostly, again, I don't remember which parts of this overlapped it, but it existed in that like Wii U era for Nintendo, which like that was always struck me as an interesting choice from Sony that they canceled it at that time, because that's the point where like the 3DS
Yeah, it was
the thing
off.
keeping Nintendo alive, basically. Like in an era where their home console wasn't doing jack shit.
And also to see the next thing basically be Nintendo's Vita in a much more like specific way, like almost exactly down to like just slightly scaled up form factor. The Steam Deck being basically that as well. Like the PSP and the Vita were like decently ahead of their time, but kind of mired in like maybe suboptimal tech, especially with like the PSP and stuff like that.
Well, again, I think the Vita, like they just kind of hit the stride more. Again, it didn't have the stupid like optical discs that the Vita had, and it was, I don't know, for me it just felt like, even though it was still ultimately like, oh, we want to take a place in the handheld market, it felt like a more fully realized product than the PSP did. Like the PSP still felt to me like a we're gonna do like a higher visual production.
Maybe a little bit more in their tech roots,
handheld thing,
in like
every
space.
like the links, like every corpse that laid at the Game Boy's feet was like, we're
Jaguar.
gonna do the Game Boy, but with better graphics and more expensive, and none of it ever worked.
No.
And the Vita was a little less that. It was a little. I feel like it was slightly closer to the
a little
in
more
relative
grounded
terms.
in like the game sphere than in the like tech sphere.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
And it was slightly closer in relative terms to price, I think, to like whatever the 3DS was going at the time. But more importantly, it was closer in design of like, oh, they had like a touchscreen on the front and the weird little touchscreens on the back. They had two real like joysticks on it, which like, they weren't amazing, but they were certainly better than like the slide pad or whatever on the 3DS.
So it was released in 2011 in Japan, December of that year. Discontinued in 19.
Okay, that actually had a longer
launch
lifetime.
price of $250. Like
I think that's what the 3DS launched at before they cut it a bunch.
I'm gonna fact check that.
I think originally the 3DS cost that much money.
I think you're right. Yes, same year, 2011.
Yeah,
$250.
Very interesting. But yeah, the Vita was cool, and if they ever make another handheld, maybe that'll be cool too. I don't know. We'll see. But like you said, the PlayStation brand, I think there is a lot of stuff that, again, just like all these companies now, they're doing a lot of less cool shit than they used to, but they were like things like those buzzers or whatever from that game are just an example of like, oh, what a weird, funny thing that is like totally unnecessary, but still like definitely adds something to the product. Like obviously you can recreate four buttons for choices and a way to buzz in on a regular controller if you want to, but that's not as fun as holding a game show like thing that you can like slap the fuck out of and then like push red or whatever to lock in your answer.
Yeah. It was a different time.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm glad. I mean, I'm not surprised, having played Astrobot, that the thing that kind of like its predecessor is also good, and I always heard that as well, that like, oh, this is really impressive for like a silly little thing you get for free by buying a PlayStation or whatever.
Yeah. And both the add-ons completely free. Like there was I think I had at one point maybe like deleted the game itself off of the PlayStation, or maybe we didn't fully download it. I'm not sure. I had to re-download it. It took like no time because again, it's very small and the add-ons were just there. I didn't have to do anything, so it was probably just like a update that was pushed, not like go click this in the PlayStation Store to tell us you downloaded it. No, it was just literally right there, fully integrated, and I didn't even have to fully there was no hard fast between like where the base game ended and where the new content was. Like when I got through what was clearly the base game, there was just a pop-up in the game like, hey, there's new stuff, go check this out, and like stuff would happen and just went right seamlessly. It's great. It was very cute. I enjoyed my time with it, and I will play Astrobot at some point, but we are now dangerously close to Digimon launching, and I don't necessarily want to juggle two things.
If you played that thing through, I'm just guessing it's going to take you a while.
Probably.
Indeed.
But I want to play it even more now that I've played Astro's Playroom. Because I was
there
like,
you go.
I was like, I don't want to necessarily go back to the shorter one before playing the longer one, because I know I'm going to like the longer one. I watched you play a good chunk of it. It's cute as hell. I want to see it. So I was like, I know this thing is short, so I'm just going to knock it out, and it was a great time.
Very good.
Good weekend game.
For sure. Stuff that I've dabbled in. I played a little Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, which I had to look down because I always forget what the name is. I was like, is it Rageborn? Is it but apparently it's Ragebound. I'm going to talk about that a little more when I play it again, because I played it for a couple hours, like probably an hour or two while we were out of town.
I was going to say, if you played it, anything, because I watched you play it.
I haven't played it since, but I enjoyed mostly what I played so far of it. Like, I think the wall climbing stuff, like sometimes it felt a little stickier than I wanted it to, in terms of when I was really trying to like move through spaces.
These ninjas are covered in honey, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I know I haven't quite gotten to the point where the mechanics really converge, because I had heard other people talking about it online, and there's kind of like a thing that comes up just after I think where I am, where like your character abilities kind of get even more smushed together.
Interesting.
So I'll get into that.
Because you played 2 different characters.
Yeah, and then I think up to a point they like fuse somehow. And
Yikes.
So you get like you can do more of the things that either of them can do as one unit.
Yikes. They have a baby.
But yeah, I'll definitely play some more of that. But I did enjoy my time with it.
It was interesting.
For the most part, it was pretty fun.
I've never played a Ninja Gaiden game before.
I played the more recent 3D ones. I never played the old school ones, really. Like the
I've
NES
seen
era
plenty of
stuff.
that stuff on like a SGDQ.
The first 2 were pretty good on the Xbox that era, like back in the, mid 2000s or whatever. And then other than that, I haven't played any of them since, really, other than this 2D thing. But yeah, I'll talk about that more in the future. It was fun. And then the other day, when I was going, like, I booted up the PC in here, and I was like, I'll update a few things, install a few things, maybe play like Street Fighter or something. But then I went through my my wish lists and saw that Roboquest. I will never remember the name of this game because it's too generic. Roboquest, a thing I had wish listed. This was a game that Chris and April, like, it would come up in one of our conversations with them. It's like an indie roguelike shooter. Like 3D shooter, like a first-person shooter. But it was on sale. It was half off. So I was like, I'll give that a shot maybe. And again, I was thinking, like, it's got kind of like a cartoony aesthetic with shooting. And I like Borderlands has been on my mind, although I still both refuse to pay full price for it and will not buy it while it's fucked up.
Literally on fire. Just
so,
go
yeah,
buy 2 and then we can play 2 together on PC.
I could do that. But yeah, I'm definitely going to give Borderlands 4 enough time to be fixed and cost less.
Before taking more of a sniff.
Yeah, and then maybe give that a shot at some point. But in the interim, I ended up playing this. And it's good. I wouldn't call it great. My initial impressions are that I don't think roguelikes are my favorite genre in general.
That's fair.
And I think that they're even more poorly suited. I mean, that might even be too negative, but they're like, I think the 3D games show their constraints even more than 2D games do. Because the thing with 2D games, right, is that, like,
I think they hide the seams a little better.
Yeah, the world, whether it's like an isometric view or a top-down view or whatever, by their nature, side-scrolling thing, what have you, the amount of the world is always going to be constrained to the aspect ratio and dimensions of the screen you're looking at, right? There's no horizon in the gameplay, moment-to-moment gameplay of a 2D game. 3D games are capable of that, right? Where you could like get to a hilltop and like see, look off in the distance. Look where that is. I wonder if I can go there. And the thing that's the most evident for me coming off of playing like, mostly games like Halo, Destiny, stuff like that in the first-person shooter space, is that this game, level design-wise, sure feels like a roguelike thing in that like you're in pretty constrained, very linear environments. Like that you are in little boxes that are connected to other little boxes, and they're like, that might be selling the geometry a tiny bit short, but like
but you can see the prefab nature of it, I guess, is kind of
like
a way to put it, which again isn't a bad thing. Like,
and again, this
even the best roguelike games do that. They have chunks, like generic chunks of like what something looks like, and then it kind of populates that a little more sporadically so they don't look all identical.
Yeah, this is this is an indie thing. It's made by a presumably fairly small team. Certainly nowhere near the like Bungie at their various peaks and valleys. Nowhere near Bungie today, even in its totally
gutted and on
gutted
fire
state.
form.
But that said, the fact that it is a roguelike, I think, contributes to that more than the team size, because that's a thing that, like, in 3D games, that's one of the things you do kind of get, I wouldn't say for free, but like, you can just take the editor and like just yank geometry around and like, carve out some big open spaces if you so choose.
Yeah, I think depending on what you're doing, that can. I haven't done enough
Plop down a few dozen
3D
trees.
game making to know exactly how like those tools have changed since I used them in college.
And in this, it feels like every other roguelike thing you've ever played, where it's like a series of little puzzle pieces wedged together, which, like, for better or worse, that's I think I'm like neutral to slightly negative on it, just because the environments because they have little grind rails and stuff like that in some of the areas. I'm like, why? Yeah, the space is so small. There's so little. And maybe it changes a little later on. I don't know. Again, I played it for an hour, maybe an hour and a half at most. So I'm in only the initial areas of this product, but like that element feels definitely a little tight and a little uninteresting. And the enemies kind of feel that way too, of like some of it is how boxed in a lot of those areas are. Where like,
if they're really small, the enemies have to either do very little or can't do the full
they do not
suite
have
or whatever.
a ton of space to like flank you or get around and stuff. They also don't feel particularly smart. Like it seems like if you kind of just keep your distance, they'll just keep lobbing stuff at you or, hovering off and, ahead of you a bit.
That's literally all
again,
I ever do.
That may change a bit as the game progresses. I'll have to play more of it to find out. But so I would say the quality of the encounters is in a similar way to like 20 or 30XX when I was like, I feel like I'm not going to like what the roguelike genre gives to this
type
the
of
roguelike subgenre gives to this base genre. Like my feelings are the same here, where it's like I don't know that this being a roguelike helps it in these specific ways that I just mentioned. But on the other hand, the gameplay is pretty solid feeling overall. Okay. The movement feels pretty fun. The shooting feels pretty responsive. If anything, I think the reticle friction might be a little overtuned, because once you kind of like swipe across this thing, it's pretty sticky on an enemy, which I know that's kind of a taste thing. Like some people feel better or worse about that, but it's like it has respectable aim assist.
It's
got a double jump. The sliding feels good. There's a little lateral dodge that's kind of like the thrust thing that Titans do in Destiny.
Yeah.
That feels pretty good. And the guns feel pretty unique too. Like they're all very stylish and pretty cartoony. Like they all look very fun and silly. Either cobbled together old junk or like weird techno weapons. Like, so there are like beam types. There's energy types. There's some that like have ammo that you reload. There's some that like they kind of like you wait for them to overheat and then they cool down. Like you just fire until they like stop. As far as I can tell, there's no ammo in the game. Like everything just reloads. Like, you have magazines, but not like finite ammo. It doesn't appear that way, at least again from the stuff I've encountered so far. Another thing, this is more of like a thing that I think I just would prefer that's not in there, is it doesn't have ADSing. Again, I think part of that, I'm guessing part of the reason it's not in there is because like it would almost feel a little weird because the environments are so constrained. Because this whole game seems to be more about like side strafing as much as possible and getting behind little bits of cover.
So aiming down sights would be weird while like focusing more on movement.
I think my point being that like the thing about ADSing, right, is that it restricts your movement and restricts your field of view more. And so if you do have a game where the environments are more allow for enemies to more kind of get the better of you, to get around you, get behind you, that kind of thing, then like having that like loop of like aiming down sights and unscoping makes more sense. With the environments that this game has had so far, I understand why like it doesn't do that.
But your habits are so ingrained.
Yeah, but my habits are so ingrained. It still has like, critical hits and stuff like that, and that stuff feels like it just feels less to me it feels less like I'm locking in the crit with how like tight the reticle friction is and with how distance you can be from some of the stuff when firing off than if I were ADSing and getting it. Like in practice, it's probably
just kind of feels like
it's
happening as opposed to
a tiny bit more. It feels like it's happening
than
like I'm lining up that shot and nailing it. Yeah, but I'm trying to think if there's anything else in particular about it. Like I said, I do enjoy it though. Functionally, like I said, the motion and the gunplay feels pretty good. Another thing that's interesting is I did find one gun that there was like one sniper thing, and I never found that's not true. I very rarely found a repeat gun. Like I think I got like there's like a two-fisted like double-barreled shotgun setup
Okay.
That's like one weapon that I found that thing twice. But for the most part, everything else I found was a totally unique thing. But one of them
really
was a
cool.
sniper rifle that has like so there's controller mappings for like primary function and alt function for the weapons. Most of the ones that I found the alt function didn't do anything. Like in the two-handed one, I think you could back and forth them. I forget if it was pulling both triggers even or just pulling the one and it would fire from both hands or whatever. But one of them was a sniper rifle that did have a scope that was more like the Halo style scope, where it's like it's not like iron sights. It's like your whole field of view is just like it's zoomed in and you look at a thing. Kind of like the BXR in Destiny. They simulated that in that gun in that game. And the last thing that I don't like about it is and this is a more fundamental thing that I'd be curious if anyone else who's played it feels this way, is I feel like the mixing isn't great, the audio mixing, and the sound effects are like, and I don't know which of these is worse, like, or which of these is affecting me more. I feel like the audio mixing isn't great, and the sound effect, just like the punchiness isn't there, especially of like incoming damage, like when enemies are shooting at you or like an explosive thing is near you. But even with your own guns, when you fire stuff, the report from stuff like the rat-tat-tat and all that is just feels a little subdued for me. Because I went into the settings and like I think by default they have everything at 100 or whatever, like menu sound and game sound and music or whatever. And I ended up turning the music down to 50% and then still cranking like the bass audio in my headphones up. Like two or three clicks, and even then I was still like, man, these guns should sound like they're meaner or like something. Or like when a thing throws a grenade near me and it pops, it should like boom more than like.
Interesting.
So that I straight up I was just like, I think this is not quite as punchy as I'd like it to be, audio wise. But all that said, I think I will play more of it because it's pretty fun. And I might hit up Chris at some point. Maybe we'll play together because you can co-op it. Or if you wanted to get a copy of it, maybe we could play together. You can play a two-person co-op in the same run. And it was like $12, I think, on sale. It was half off. And there is a linear, I believe there is a permanent progression to your character in some way that I really didn't scratch the surface on much at all in that single play session so far.
I was wondering if, there was some way, maybe if you level up, you'll get more guns that have alternate functions. Maybe there's something in there.
It could be that. It could be just getting deeper in a run gives you more interesting weapons.
Yeah,
and again, I would say that
different things further in or whatever.
Yeah, I would say that the guns that served so far, again, that's the best part about it, is none of the guns that served up felt boring.
That's good.
If anything, again, they all felt interesting enough in their own way that I was really torn between the wanting to try out the new thing that just fell out of whatever.
Yeah, sure.
And
especially
keeping
if you're
the
not
thing that I knew.
Duplicates,
and keeping the thing that I knew was working, because that was the way
really
I was
good.
in Destiny 2, where I would sometimes go out of my way to try new stuff, but I liked locking in on a thing and really trying to master something for a while. And they all feel different enough that it doesn't feel like a one-to-one. I've figured this thing out so I can shoot every gun. I've locked in on everything. That wasn't the case. So the weapon tuning, I think, is very good from what I've experienced so far. Stuff that can engage a variety of ranges and firing cadences. Again, this is a thing that I have criticized in modern day Destiny 2, but if nothing else, I feel like the magazines are a little too generous still. Because a lot of those guns you could fire for a long time before ever having to reload.
In this game?
In both games.
Oh, okay.
But in this game,
I wasn't sure where the criticism was. If it was just Destiny.
The shotgun, the double-handed shotgun, I think had 15 shots or 10 shots total or something. It just felt like you could just keep mashing and just fire would come out. I definitely like the cadence of firing and reloading. And sometimes
Get this man a musket.
unless something is super S tier, it's on the absolute top tier of the power band, I prefer my magazine sizes to be restrictive enough that under medium to high combat density, you're gonna have to potentially swap to your other weapon as opposed to reloading.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm out. I would click, switch, because I have no other choice because there's shit on me and I don't quite have time to reload either.
Yeah.
But there was less of that. Again, they were, which I understand the impetus for, because people, feel like most people are not like me. They want to shoot
forever
more than they want to reload, as opposed to having a more wax and waning cadence between the two. But yeah, those are all my thoughts about that so far. And I wanted to talk about that more because I had played it just yesterday.
Oh, nice.
And Ragebound, like I said, I still haven't played for about a week, a little more than that, I think,
give or
because I
take.
played it early on in that vacation, but I'll definitely play more of that too. But yeah, and Roboquest, let me triple check. That's the name of this product, because it is so generically named. It is called Roboquest. It is a 3D roguelike shooter. I will say that straight up, again, this is the case with a lot of stuff that's in like the $20+ range. I don't think I would have been satisfied with this at $25 if I just paid the base price for the reasons I just outlined. But at $12, it's a good time.
Yeah.
I would totally recommend it on sale if you're into that kind of thing.
I had also made a Steam purchase literally yesterday of Peak. I have not played it yet. I'm going to play it with a handful of friends who kind of bullied me into it. Because they've been like trying to figure out something for me to play, and like a lot of the stuff they've offered up were like, they play a lot of Fortnite, they play a lot of other stuff, and I'm just like, I want things with a negative battle pass. I don't want live service games. I'm literally done with that. And they also like other like kind of like flash in the pan stuff like Lethal Company and Repo, and I'm just like, that's not really what I want to play. Especially like I think I'd just die if I played Lethal Company because I would get too scared. The suspense would literally kill me before any of the monsters did. And I'm just like, that's not really what I'm into. And then I had heard a lot of good word of mouth from a coworker about Peak. She was having a lot of fun with some friends. So I was like, they were like, have you checked it out? And I went and looked. I'm like, $8? Fucking sure. Let's go.
Told you. That's the magic number. Under $10.
Well, I still think I'm more with you, and it's under 15. Like, I'm much more willing to pull the trigger on something less than 15. Because Peak was not on sale. I just straight up bought it. And I was like, sure. I've seen other footage. It looks cute. I'm sure we'll get into antics. So yeah, good times.
And I think that's all we've been playing for now. In the interest of time, maybe we won't talk about 100% of our trip, but at minimum, we should talk about the big thing.
Yeah. We went to Epic Universe, baby.
Did. Yeah, so we'll get into our vacation a little.
Literally a week ago. Today was our first of 2 days there.
Yeah, but so to summarize this a tiny bit, like the lead up to all this, I've been interested in going to the theme park. What has Nintendo
Dustin
in it?
Just likes theme parks base. He just likes theme parks.
Yeah, when they announced that there was going to be a theme park with a Nintendo in it, I was like, well, we should probably try to go to that at some point. And so, like, I think it was last year around this time when they put up ticket sales for the first time, and you had to buy like a bundle of tickets from Universal. You had to buy like a ticket that gave you access to each of the parks one day initially. To go. So I pulled up the calendar and I was like, what's the cheapest dates? And at that time they were in early September of the year we're in now.
Like I said, we got back like a week ago and we were gone for about a week and a half.
So I asked Lorraine, I was like, hey, do you want to go to Nintendo Land in about a year? And she was like, yeah. And so we did it, and we hit up all the Disney stuff too.
Yeah, we literally went to everything except the 2 water parks, basically.
Yeah, in general had a really good time.
Yeah. But Epic Universe, though.
But yeah, Epic Universe was most of the reason we were there because it was a brand new theme park in America. First time that's happened in like
a minute.
Yeah, since I think California Adventure, like a major theme park.
You'd know more than me.
At this point I would qualify a major theme park as like a totally new park by either Disney or Universal.
Not
I guess
like a full expansion, not like a revamp of other park, but like
so it's been 20-something years since something like that's opened up in this country. And yeah, it was really fun. We had a really good time.
It was so cool.
Some of the things I was most impressed by in general was like as far as the park across the board, as I still think the hub world is really nice.
It is like, because it's even themed. It's kind of like celestial, like star themed a little bit. It's not crazy.
It's generically space themed.
Yeah. But there's like nice touches here and there. There's music playing all the time. Sometimes for the different lands, sometimes just like their own score, which is still really nice. It's very nice. Even like when it's fucking bright as hell out, like it looks incredible at night. But even in the middle of the day, like it's just a nice place to be.
There's a really big, pretty hotel at the very like far end of the park,
which makes like a really nice set piece. Like it's beautiful.
It looks really nice lit up, and I'm sure for the people staying in there, the park itself looks really cool, especially looking down at night or whatever, like all the LED lighting and stuff like that. And the gimmick of the whole park is that like the in-universe lore is that it's like a junction point for like multi-dimensional travel. So you pass through these little portals.
Go through these big like glowing like animated portals.
Yeah, and go to another world, which in this case are
isekai, baby.
Yeah, are the lands that
which are
sum up the park.
The How to Train Your Dragon franchise, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, but like JK, not really anymore.
It's not Harry Potter stuff across generations.
Shit. The like Universal Monsters Dark Universe, so like a Frankenstein, a Creature from the Black Lagoon, Dracula, that kind of shit from like 50s movies.
A little earlier than that. But I mean,
okay, I couldn't remember.
Maybe up to that point too.
In and around there, old movies and Nintendo.
Yep.
Mostly Mushroom Kingdom with literally Donkey Kong Country attached to it. You have to go through the Mario stuff to get to the Donkey Kong stuff. You can't just get to Donkey Kong.
But yeah, that stuff was all pretty fun.
Oh, it was so fun.
And to speak on the Nintendo stuff specifically, since I think probably volume, that's where we spent most of our time. Although, again, I liked the whole park as a whole.
I do too. And
none of the rides were my favorites necessarily in Nintendo. We'll get into that.
Yeah, they were a little bit lacking in some ways.
But the Nintendo area is basically like a big.
It's a big game.
A big kind of like all ages playground for you to kind of muck around with. And to do that stuff, there's basically like an app and there's like an accessory you need to buy. So there is basically like I would say that the best parts of the land are functionally paid DLC.
Yeah.
Because you need to pay to get into the park, and then you need to give them another like $45 or so to buy a wristband.
But that makes
lets you
it
interact
so
with stuff.
much fun.
But if you're going to bother to do it, if you're going to bother to go to this theme park, I would definitely buy the wristband because it's more fun to actually be able to do that stuff. You can go around punching blocks and collecting coins. You can play little mini games in the environment.
There's even like a game attraction that is like locked behind it.
Yeah, that you have to beat a series of other smaller mini games to go participate in this larger mini game.
And it was pretty good. Like, I liked it for what it was. Like,
it was fun and cute. And the other games were largely fun too, including like some of the areas they had you walk through, because there's like a cool little underground area.
I love that underground area. That was such a fun.
That was my favorite game and probably my favorite singular area. I don't know, because there's like a lot of really cool little spaces that are cool to be in. But that was a cool transition where you basically kind of like functionally go into what like an equivalent to the underground areas in Mario.
Yeah, like a 1-2 in Mario Brothers.
And so you like muck around in there for a little bit, and then about halfway through it,
you get to the screened room, and a bomb drops, and it explodes, and it makes the like Mario like taking a hit sound.
Yeah.
And then all the blocks are really
shrink.
big.
Yeah,
it's so cute.
In relation to the area, you have become smaller because you took a hit. And so the bigger coin blocks and bigger other stuff in the areas past
cute.
that.
It was such a cute effect.
Yeah,
and then
it
when
was
you
a
leave
very
that
funny
other
little
area, there's another screen where a mushroom shows up, and it makes the like picking up a mushroom sound. And then the blocks are normal size beyond that. Like it is very cute. It was such a charming little thing when we like just kind of, because we didn't know where we were going. We're just like, we're literally looking at physically everything here.
Yeah.
So we wandered in there, played a little like game or so beforehand, and then the bomb drops, and then we realized what happened, and it's like, oh my god.
And the mini game in there, I think of the ones we got to try out, because there was one that was just broken that involved doing something with a Goomba.
There was one that just wasn't there.
Yeah, and the other one that was described online, we couldn't figure out how to trigger it, or it wasn't there at all. It showed up in the
app too. Like it was listed in the app on the app's map.
Yeah, so I think
I don't know what was up with that.
I think we played 3 of the potentially 5 games where you unlock little keys, and then once you get 3 keys, you can use those to go fight Bowser Jr. in like a bigger final mini game. But the first one we ended up playing was this like what is in that like the underground
cave.
The big
bomb thing.
It was a big bomb thing where basically like you start the game. And the bomb explodes and kind of just destroys. What do you call it? Like a coin or a little?
I think it was like
emblem
the key piece.
Oh yeah, it was like the key itself. Yeah, and so it breaks this key into like a bunch of pieces and like scatters them around touchscreens that are like strewn about
it's
the area.
Like a U-shaped area with the bomb, an actual big bomb.
Yeah,
like.
Yeah, big physical bomb prop
in front of you.
With
might
a
have
screen
even been like King Bomb, and then there was
with a screen underneath it and a bunch of other smaller screens around it.
In like a U.
Yeah, and so it blows up and scatters these pieces around the various touchscreens around you. You kind of have to scramble to go touch them all to collect them to the center.
And then it blows up again, and you do it again.
Yeah, and then once you collect them in the center, you have to like move them into place. You have to kind of like swipe them.
You have to pick
up
the pieces and then arrange them back into like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, the correct shape.
Into the actual like circular like key coin or whatever.
And it was, I think it was my favorite because it was, again, that area was really cool.
Yeah.
The physical layout of it all. And it felt the most, for me, I think it felt the most well balanced of being like elaborate enough to be worth waiting in a little line for if you had to like queue up for it.
And multiple people
like,
could do it at once.
And like very clear what the objective was.
Yeah.
Like it, like you, some of the other ones threw me for a loop, and especially some other people for a loop, even like in the lead up watching other people do it.
Yeah.
Or like it was a little unclear on how victory was necessarily going to be achieved. But with this one, I understood it after watching one person do it. I was like, okay, I get it. Like, you got to go collect the thing and then put the thing together. Yeah. So it felt straightforward, it felt achievable, and it felt
Rewarding.
like a unique space.
Yeah.
Like that whole little room was laid out for that purpose or whatever, which was fun. And yeah, we got to do that. Some of the other ones that we also did were there's like a shell timing one where there's basically like a shell that moves back and forth, and you have
like
to
a T-pipe.
Yeah, they're like a kind of T-shaped pipe, and you have to bop a POW block at the right time to
Set
knock
up
the
a chain
shell.
reaction of POW blocks to knock the shell
up, and knock the key out so you can grab it.
That one just has like really specific timing that you can kind of trial and error it, and like thankfully it doesn't take too long if you do mess it up. Like you can just
you get about like a little kind of 3 cycles to try it, and then you either get it or you missed it, and then like the next person comes up, and then you'd have to like queue up and try again. That one to me, I thought it was just a little more unclear in terms of like the cues that it gave you, because visually there was kind of asymmetrical POW blocks, like because like Lorraine's saying, there's basically a T-pipe where there's kind of like an opening to the left, an opening to the right,
and an
then opening in the center on top that like if you do the timing correctly, the shell will pop out of that center opening. But before you time it right, it's kind of moving back and forth from side to side, you know, out of the right side, and then hits a
like
wall,
a
and
shell
then back
spinning
into the right
on the
side.
ground in a Mario game, stuck between two.
Yeah. If you kicked a
like
shell and then just
vertical
kind of watched
walls.
it bounce between 2 pieces of geometry or whatever. Like the visual presentation of like there's like a POW block that you physically punch that's like right in front of you, and there's one other one that's like kind of in the scene ahead of you, where you're kind of looking at the shell back and forth that you can't touch, which I feel like is pretty close to like the point where you'd have to hit the shell on one side, but it's not symmetrical, so there's not another one on the other side indicating like the similar position, which I thought was weird. And it makes a little audio cue whenever the shell like bumps the wall or like around then, but like it doesn't make any other audio cue when it's like close to or locked into the position you need to punch at. And I felt that was just kind of like unnecessarily confusing. Like I guess for ambiance sake, it's like, oh well, it makes sense that it makes a sound when it goes boop, like when it hits a wall.
I think that's literally all it is.
But like I do feel like sound design is a super underrated way to let someone know whether they're like interacting or not.
Yeah.
Or like to guide people to do something. And an environment like that where there's like, you know, you may only be in this place one time in your life and you may only be able to do this minigame once or twice in the course of a day. I feel like you need to be as clear as possible in terms of function of what people need to do for stuff, because we watched a ton of people fail it, and I failed it the first time. Like Lorraine knocked it out in one go.
Well, because there was literally an employee next to the POW block that you hit, and she's like, hit it when it goes in the pipe.
Okay.
And I'm like, bet. So I did that and I got it.
And when she said, she must have told me the same thing, but with the other, like, you know, just all the noise and stuff that was going around, I feel like the thing that I thought I heard her say was like, oh, hit it when it hits the wall.
No.
And so I tried that a couple times and it did not work. And then I had to queue up and do it again.
She even said, like, now, and I did it and it worked. Like, I'm pretty sure she was helping everyone, whether or not they could either hear or understand her.
Or even trying to listen to her.
Like,
right. Yeah. And that was good that they did try to have people stationed to assist people in terms of figuring that stuff out.
Because, I mean, like, again, all of these had lines in front of them. Yeah. So there was always some employee who was like, okay, you guys come up. Like, there were people commanding the lines. Like, it wasn't just a free-for-all in these high-traffic areas.
Right. But again, the thing I'm getting at here is that, like, unlike the Babam one, I felt like the Babam one was more straightforward from just observing it than this. And I feel like there were ways they could have tweaked this to make it closer to that.
And I think because a lot of it was more on screens and less with the physical presentation, I think the physical presentation of this one is what, like, you're running into more as, like, because the other one was literally just, it was a video game. Like, it was just like a touchscreen game, like, whatever. That's all it was. There was no physical object that you were, like, manipulating, in quotes, in the environment that did anything. Whereas the other two that we did had that, as opposed to just being a, like, screen-based thing, even if the screens were split up.
And then the last of these mini-games, these like sort of sub-mini-games that we got to try.
The hardest one.
And the one that I do think is probably the worst overall, and also had the worst support, was so there's this area where there's like a gigantic piranha plant, and he's asleep, and you have to keep him asleep. And so...
And there's like... 12 clocks, I
believe?
there's
a little corridor.
Clusters of 4.
There's a little corridor of a bunch of little stopwatch-looking clock things.
Yeah. They're on... Because you're outside.
Yeah.
There's like a big rectangle space in front of the piranha plant, and then a narrow, like, what you would assume would just be a normal-ass, like, walkway to it.
Yeah.
That like a one-person, like, bridge, basically. One-person wide bridge that has 2 more clusters of 3 clocks. So there's 2 in like the base corners of the rectangle away from the piranha plant, and then or there's 2 clusters of 3 up there in front of it, and then on the bridge as well.
So when you start the minigame, basically those clocks all start to tick up, like they start to go off, and you just have to it's a mad scramble to just basically
turn them off.
Button mash the tops of them to turn them off. Like the attendants described it as like kind of like a CPR motion where you're kind of repeatedly pumping up and down on top of this little rubbery button,
as opposed to just hitting it
just
lightly.
smack it at once.
You
or
needed
whatever.
to put force behind it.
Yeah, and like according to them, repeated force. Like you had to not just even give it a really definitive push once, but to kind of
because you can hear when it goes off, but there are so many of them that it's very hard to hear when they go off.
Total clusterfuck
because they are flashing too a little bit. Like they have a light effect on the thing that you hit. It's just very hectic.
Yeah, and as far as I could tell from other people doing it and from reading about it online, the goal is just to have basically deactivated a set number of total clocks.
Okay.
Before the minigame ends. So because when it starts going off again, there'll be 5 or 6 at a time at minimum.
Yeah.
That all activate at the same time. And
I'm
so
sure
you're
they
just
could
kinda
all be
scrambling
active
back and
at
forth.
once if they wanted to be.
Like using 2 hands at once to pump 2 different clocks to try to shut them off. And the first time we tried it, it was with us and another little girl that her mom didn't have a band or whatever, she wasn't playing. She was like, "Hey, can you go with these people?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And even with 3 people, and I don't know if we did amazing, but I thought we did okay. We failed it just through sheer volume of button presses. I think we couldn't press enough of them with just 3 humans. And so that's actually one of the things I feel and again, I don't necessarily blame them for just letting people roll the punches because they're making probably a minimum wage at this dumb job.
Yeah.
But if the attendance could have been more helpful there, it would have been to encourage people to group up. Just hey, if there's 2 of you, you can't do this. Meaning it is going to be functionally impossible for you to succeed at this. Maybe have more people go in and you all do it together.
Because we after that we just kind of let's go. I think we had lunch or something like that afterwards.
Yeah. And
then we wandered back because I somehow had 2 key pieces.
Yeah, you got an extra one for
I don't know.
some reason.
I think I did read that it can just happen. Because I was trying to figure out where this mystery 4th game or 5th game was that we couldn't find. Because the Goomba one, we found it. It was just there was a little fence in front of it. It's this is out of order right now. So I don't know where that 5th one is. But it looks like I maybe somehow just doubled up on one. So at one point I had 3 and you still had 1. Or you had 2 because you did go back and get the shell. You did finish the shell thing. So we went over to the piranha plant again and we saw some people who just failed and were like, "Hey, do y'all want to team up?" And they were like, "No, but we found 2 other people. 4 people is your best bet. You get 1 person by each of the clusters and you're golden."
Yeah.
I at one point did not have anything to do because my cluster was all deactivated.
Yeah, and I had read that online after we did it the first time and failed. I pulled up some little article about it and they were like, "Yeah, you should have probably 4 to 6 people to do this."
6 feels like overkill, but
I mean, I'm guessing you there's no way to fail with 6 because you're
Probably.
probably be pushing a clock with each hand all the time. But yeah, we were able to knock it out with 4 people. And again, that one, I just think the minigame itself could be much stronger in a way that other video game stuff is already built, because there's a very poor feedback loop from of any kind of progress while you're doing it. Because you turn the clocks off and then it'll be 5 seconds later, the same clock will just turn back on.
Yeah.
And again, since the design currently is just that you have to hit a certain number of them to turn them off. Obviously they want to keep respawning them so you can turn them off again. But I just don't know why it is that way when it could be set up to be more like a Simon thing where you have to hit this one and then it lights up a different one, you have to do that one. Or it could be more like waves where all right, well, it's going to start at 3 are on and you have to tag all those. And then the 6 are on and then you have to tag all those or whatever, right? I feel like each of those, those 2 ideas would be a much stronger, less confusing, gameplay loop that again would be more learnable, just from observation, and it would be more clear when you're making progress, because they could even make a little success noise whenever you clear every wave or whatever. Just
because it wasn't even necessarily clear that we won. It all was
until
it was
the
just,
very end.
It just it suddenly ended.
Yeah,
and they're like, "You did it." It was very strange.
It did make some kind of more successful.
Whereas the other
than
2 that we did play, there was a very clear victory. You did the thing.
Yeah.
Where this one, it was a little like much more nebulous.
Yeah, and again, like part of that was like because we really still couldn't tell. Like we had the assumption that we were doing better.
Yeah.
With the 4 people because there were just more people mashing the shit out of buttons. But like while it was active, there was no other real meaningful way to tell if we were like progressing more or not until it was over. And yeah, so I think that mini game could be very easily redesigned with no physical changes to the environment or anything, to just be like a little clearer and a little more straightforward.
Yeah.
Than it is now. But it was still like fun to do. It's fun to mash buttons.
Yeah, because they're big soft buttons, so you can just kind of like
smack the fuck out of them.
Yeah, go ham.
And that's still again that kinetic like nature of play is kind of the whole place because it is fun to punch a block, and you can in fact like if you really punch it, you'll probably hurt your hand quite a bit, but you can like give them a solid little tap with your fist, and it'll make the coin noise, and
because they are like. Every other face of it is a solid thing, but the bottom that
has
you
like a
would
big
punch,
rubber pad.
Yeah, it's a softer kind of like kind of thing. So you can just like, and you could just tap the band on it, and that works just fine. Or you could punch them, and like it was fun. It was fun to just like
and some of the ones
my way of describing it. It was like a mall play area from like the late 90s, early 2000s.
And a small handful of them were high up enough that you had to, depending on how tall you are, you had to reach a little bit. Like Lorraine, you had to give 1 or 2 of them like a straight up Street Fighter style uppercut.
The really big block in the underground area, like I did have to like full on like jump.
Yeah, and that one was high enough that they had like a little
there was
a backup touch point
below
it. Yeah, so if you were a child or whatever, you could just tap that and still like functionally hit it without having to reach up all the way.
It was fun to jump and punch it though. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. But yeah, all that in-world play stuff was really fun. There was a really fun, which like we didn't get credit for in the app for reasons I'm not unsure of, but there was a really fun mini game in the Donkey Kong area where you have to like beat drums in like rhythm as a set of 3 people to get Rambi to come out of a box. It was cool to watch it succeed because it was just fun to watch the animatronic kind of like burst out.
He popped out. I have a picture of him like just being there.
But there were a couple instances like that where like the back end stuff didn't seem to be working 100%. Like that was one of them. I didn't get credit for like half of the rides we rode.
Yeah.
Where like the app is supposed to track if you've ridden the rides in the world, and it just didn't do it for me, and I don't know why. It doesn't.
I was literally next to you on all of those rides, and I was getting credit.
Yeah, so I don't know what was up with that. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
Mario loves to elevate women's voices, is what it actually is.
True. But it would have been nice if that stuff was working more consistently. And then the rides themselves ranged from like good to fine to kind of bad. The Donkey Kong Country roller coaster is really fun. It's definitely the best of the rides in there, but big old butt here.
Woo-hoo.
But it also has apparently
it is unreliable.
Such severe reliability problems that I don't even know if I'd recommend that you queue up for it unless you have a very specific set of circumstances. Because we waited.
I'm gonna check it right now.
See what it's at this moment. We waited a total of 4.5 hours to ride that thing over 2 different like queue times.
And it was fully down like all day the first day we were there.
Because it appears that like even a light rainfall will just take that thing down for like, minutes to potentially hours at a time. Where like, because we were in the queue and it had gone down and it was very lightly raining and every single other thing in the park was open, including like, they have some fairly high velocity roller coasters in there that have been unfortunately involved in a fatality recently.
25-minute wait right now.
Yeah, so it's over 2 hours listed.
Which is insane.
And again, if it like, this is Florida, it's going to rain a lot. If it happens to rain significantly at any point while you're in there, you're locked in for probably at minimum a half an hour delay, if not more.
Harry Potter's at 180 right now.
Dang.
Monsters Unchained is 25 still.
There you go.
Yeah.
Perfect. And so the arduous task of getting on the thing was it's really unfortunate because it is a fun little ride. It's got some cute animatronics. The ride vehicle itself is really cute because it is kind of an individual mine car. It's a little vehicle that seats 4 people that goes around this tight little track that like attempts to visually simulate jumping around on the mine cart tracks in the game.
Is on an arm, which is on a track. So like you see mine cart tracks that like they're broken and like you're kind of jumping between them while the ride is going. It's very cute. And it's like there's a full Donkey Kong animatronic at one point. Like there's a lot of fun things to see too. It's really extremely well themed, like the rest of the park.
And the track layout as a whole kind of like takes you around the whole perimeter of the Donkey Kong part of the Nintendo world.
if it's running, you can see the carts going constantly.
Yeah, so you get to both see the whole world from kind of an upper angle, and the people on the ground get the fun experience of seeing the kinetic energy of the carts move around the space. So that stuff's all good. It's just like it goes down so frequently, and the capacity is so low that, again, I don't know if I'd even... unless you're doing like we did, if you're doing 2 days and you're just determined to get on everything and you're willing to dedicate basically like at least 50% of a day to just do it, which, again, I do think we would have probably had like in total potentially more fun if we had just kind of been chilling and doing other stuff.
Yeah.
Like I probably would have had a higher volume of fun, like riding Harry Potter again and riding Monsters Unchained again, and like spending another hour just chilling in hindsight. As opposed to like spending 4.5 hours riding Donkey Kong.
Trying to ride Donkey
Kong, yeah. So that's the like the warning that I would give you if you're trying to get on this ride and you go there.
A friend of mine is going this following week. It works out with like her and her sisters and her parents' work schedule, so they're going down for literally. They basically had the same other ticket that we had. They have 3 days in Universal. Yeah. All 3 of the parks with 1 day in Epic. And I told her, I'm like, don't queue up for the Donkey Kong ride. Like I was pushing Monsters Unchained because I'm like, because they want to see Nintendo and the Dark Universe. So it's like, get on that ride. It's a very like it's super fast turnaround. It's really cool, but like don't go on the Donkey Kong ride.
Yeah. In terms of metagaming park strategy, what I would suggest you do,
which Dustin is literally all about. That is like put that on your tombstone. Like
because this ride
metagame theme park
is so inconsistent and has so low capacity. I would suggest either if you're staying offsite and you are determined to ride this, you probably do want to do 2 days at Epic. And then,
if you haven't, like, if you're like, if you want to do other stuff too.
Yeah, if you want to truly experience the whole park, which I'd recommend because the whole park as a whole, I really like. It is one. I still don't know exactly where it ranks for me in terms of like all the theme parks I've ever been to, but it is one of my favorite theme park experiences.
I'm pretty sure it's my favorite.
Yeah,
I loved the hub area. Huge shout out, like I've been telling everyone, to Pizza Moon. Loved Pizza Moon. Great restaurant. Yeah. The theming is amazing.
But yeah, the point being, if you were there for 1 day and you dedicate like 50% of your day to riding this ride, you could have had more fun doing other stuff. Yeah. Straight up. You could have had a better experience than that.
We spent more time than in the Donkey Kong ride just like playing around in the Mario world.
Yeah.
Like the day before, and that was some of the most fun I know I had on that trip and in a while.
Yeah. And so if you're only going to go for 1 day and you really want to ride this, I would suggest either like go ahead and book 1 night at a Universal hotel and get in early. And if you have the money, like, and you really want to be baller, I don't even think they do this yet for Epic, but they probably will in the future. The most expensive Universal hotels give you Fast Pass by default, at least the other parks. Yeah. And so I expect someday that they will do this with Epic too.
Or you could just buy the Fast Pass.
Yeah, or you can just buy the Fast Pass, but the Fast Pass is also crazy expensive.
But yes, but it will like theoretically let you get on more of the things there if you are still also determined to ride Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Like then you won't have to worry as much about those other lines, but you will probably miss out on a lot of the other really cute theming.
Yeah.
That is in the longer queues.
Yeah, so my recommendations would be if you want to save money on the whole, because I'm almost positive 2 days is like way cheaper than 1 day with the Fast Pass.
Okay.
And then obviously, and the Universal hotels are going to usually be more expensive than staying off-site, but relatively close. Like I think we paid.
We stayed off-site the entire time.
We paid at least like $50 to $100 less per night for the place we were staying that was 15 minutes away than like some of the Universal prices were. So you can save money there. So I would either save money on like the lodgings and stuff and buy 2 park tickets and go to the park for 2 days and take your swing there. If we're going to do 1 day, potentially stay on site with Universal or get the Fast Pass or both if you really, really, really want to ride this, and then go either first thing in the morning, like, because you'll get an extra hour of park entry, I think.
Ahead of time.
Yeah, ahead of time if you stay on site. So go first thing in the morning and just tough it out and you get on it. Or like roll the dice a little bit and go near the end of the day, like when it's like 8, somewhere like between 8 and 8:30 if the park closes at 10. Just queue up around that time and just stand there until you either get on it or they kick you out.
They drag you out of the park.
Yeah. And then you kind of do have to watch the forecast with all that because, like I said, the lightest of rains seems to take it down for minutes to hours. And so if it looks like it's going to be raining all morning, the morning you get in there, maybe not the best idea to just like YOLO it and queue up first thing in the morning, but that you can use that time to do other stuff because you'd still have an early entry anyway or whatever, right?
I mean, even when the ride was down, they weren't kicking people out of the queue. So like, if you're stubborn enough and you stay,
Yeah.
like you'll if your will is stronger than other people, you are more likely to make it on that ride.
And definitely make sure you use the bathroom right before you get in line.
Yeah.
And potentially have even a snack or two on hand, like a full water bottle, a couple of things to munch on.
Empty your catheter before you get in the Donkey Kong queue.
But yeah, all that to say, like I said, the ride is very cute and very fun, but it is plagued by the logistics of unfortunately being this nightmare that you have to like really plan for to try to get on. So fair warning. And
I am glad we did it and that we managed to get on.
And I was like I told Chris, we were chatting the other day about the vacation in general. I was in that like, oh, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
Like I'd already locked in that like we came here to ride every ride in this park, and we're gonna goddamn ride every ride in this park.
When I was telling my mom about it, she's like, "That's insane," and I was like, we literally like there was like maybe 3 rides that day that we hadn't ridden the day before because we didn't do Donkey Kong or some of the other super long ones, and I was like, we were determined.
Too stupid to quit, in theme park terms. And then the other 2 rides, like I said, are fine to poor.
We'll like the Yoshi
We'll work backwards
ride.
in quality. I do think the Yoshi ride is good. Like I
think
said,
it's really cute.
My issue, we talked about this before with other people too, but my issue with the Yoshi ride is the opposite of my issue with Mario Kart. My issue with the Yoshi ride is they simply chose to spend less money on it than they should have.
Yes.
Because it's a relatively short little kind of like people mover style ride where you sit in a little Yoshi-shaped car and it kind of takes you around like the upper area of Super Nintendo World, of a subsection of it.
Yeah,
so you get
and
to
there's
see...
some like bespoke inside areas, and like you will, if you're in the Mario area, you will just see these Yoshis like constantly going along their track, and it's really, really cute. Mm-hmm. To just see them around, because I love Yoshi.
Which, like you said,
much.
It's again they add something while you're on the ride, and they add something while you're off the ride, just observing the land, kind of like go about its business. With like kinetic energy and stuff like that.
Yeah, add more moving stuff to look at with a lot of already little like moving like Mario enemies and stuff like that.
For sure. And so like point 1 where they could have just spent a little more money and made the ride better would just be to have expanded the track, just to make it trace around even more of the world.
Maybe they couldn't with like adding Donkey Kong Country. It's hard to say.
I'm sure there was a way to do it. That would have been neat if it were just a little longer and like went around more of the land. And then the other part that is even more evident that again at some point they must have just like budget cut the shit out of it is that I would say there about 20% of the figures in that ride are actual animatronics where they have some kind of animated element to
and the
them.
other ones are mostly just
and the
like
other
statues.
ones are like static figures, like it's a physically unmoving Yoshi statue, a physically unmoving Baby Mario.
Was there a Baby Mario?
I thought there was one in one of those intersections. I'll have to go watch a ride through and double check.
I know it was mostly like enemies and or
but there were enemies
general,
too.
Like
and by volume, most of these were like static figures.
Yeah.
Or like very lightly moving figures, whereas they, if they clearly just bothered to spend a little more money, they could and should have all been like animatronics to some sense. Even like more limited motion figures, like some of the little critters in like that Tiana ride we did at Disney World. They should have had like at least one little cycle of like even leaning back and forth or something like that. There shouldn't be a single thing, and for the amount you're paying to get into these theme parks, there shouldn't be a single character in a ride like that doesn't animate at all.
Yeah.
And so again, they clearly just like did not spend as much money as they should have in those parts of that ride. But it is cute, other than being a little cheap
cute.
for those reasons. It is a cute little thing, and the queue is fun. And
I would argue that the queue definitely shows some of that cheapness because it is like the least like.
Yeah, again,
like,
there's
just like painted cinder block walls.
They could have done a little more elaborate with the decoration.
I loved the atmosphere of it. It was so cute and very Yoshi, but it was also like this is just like a room that you painted.
They definitely could have put a character or two in there. Like Cranky Kong has a cool animatronic in the Donkey Kong queue. Imagine how stoked people would be if there was an animating Yoshi somewhere
I would
in
have
the
literally
Yoshi
died.
queue. Yeah, you would have shit your pants.
Literally, actively.
That's a thing they very realistically could have done. They just chose not to.
Yeah.
So that kind of stinks. But it is fun.
It's so cute.
And if you wait late enough in the day, you can definitely get on it with a minimal wait.
I believe it's like an hour right now.
Yeah, and like if you wait until like 6-7 p.m. or later than that, you can probably get on it in 15-20 minutes.
It has a pretty fast through too, because it's like the track is basically constantly moving.
Yeah. And the last thing, the worst ride at Nintendo World, that you can also get on much like you can probably get on sub 30 if you wait until the end of the night.
It is 95 right now.
But yeah, don't go in the afternoon, is the Mario Kart ride,
It sure is something.
Which has the best queue of any of these
oh
rides,
my
for
God.
sure.
Oh, I loved it. Best entrance, too, that, like, Bowser Castle
Yeah, you
entrance.
go into Bowser's Castle, and then every little
my
queue
God.
area is like you go into
It's
this
his
crazy
workshop,
lobby, and then
it's like the book names alone.
Yeah, there's a workshop where he's like building Bowser enemies, and there's his like personal library that has like hundreds of little books.
They're so funny.
And
oh
there
my
are like
God.
dozens of unique little book titles that are stupid jokes or like inside references or whatever.
The one that really got me was the mirror mode one, where the word mirror was mirrored and the rest of the words were normal. Like, it was incredible. It was so funny.
And there's a ton of really cool props in that room. Some relatively well implemented screen based stuff showing like the assembly lines of like his little
and like in some
bombs and stuff.
some of the
getting built.
bookcases have like a little like glass screen that like a boo will show up
Yeah, they have a
and
cool
he'll disappear.
hologram effect where like there's kind of like a transparent, like you said, a transparent project screen that boos are projected onto, and so it kind of looks like they're weaving in and out of the bookshelves or whatever. It was super cute.
And then the ride.
And then the ride itself is pretty bad. Like I've said in other contexts that it's like a bad idea that's poorly executed.
So the gist of it is you're in a cart
Yeah.
with 4 people.
Yep.
Each seat has a steering wheel.
Mm-hmm.
It is on a set track.
Yep.
You are not steering the car. Before you get in the car, you are given a visor. That visor has a clip-on spot.
Yeah.
For
and
a,
this
like,
kind of like dial screws onto your head in the way that some VR headsets have,
Yeah.
where you kind of like turn it to like squish it up on your noggin.
and then like connect it, like the screen that you attach to the front of that, which it's basically like an AR thing.
Yeah.
Is like attached to like by a cord.
A big
to the
cable that's coming
car.
off of the cart. Yeah.
Yeah, and then on that it will project seemingly, and it's probably pre-programmed, but it feels like just at random different carts, different characters.
Yeah, like digital 3D
Literally,
models of.
not like you're racing against them. They are just passing in front of your field of view. It is a chaotic mess.
Yeah. And so once you've done all that, you're in this cart and you have this little visor on your head that has a pretty tight field of view. Like if you take, I would take each of your palms.
It's kind of like a Switch screen, honestly, like
Yeah.
in size, like actual, like if you looked at without the Joy-Cons, that's about what you have in front of your face.
Yeah, take each of your hands and make them straight, right? And like put them onto your temples. So like you're seeing, like you're like kind of your
horse blinders.
Yeah, like horse blinders. And that's about the field of view you're dealing with. Which sucks pretty hard, honestly.
There's no blinders, so you just have open vision on either side.
Yeah, 100%, right. So like,
it's not like a full VR headset.
Through
You're
your
not
normal,
enclosed.
Yes, through your
and
normal
it's not
vision.
close enough to be like VR goggles.
Yeah, through your normal vision, you very easily see past the edges of where this AR headset is. So like, you will see a cart seemingly appear from nowhere because it comes from a part of the screen that you can't see.
But it exists over there.
Yeah,
if
but it
you
exists
turned,
over there
you
off
could
screen,
see
and then just as quickly like seemingly disappear because the field of view is so bad. So that implementation wise, that's just poor. Like it really sucks that the field of view is that constrained. And then on top of it, the ride itself, like when you think Mario Kart ride, I'm assuming most people think like fast racing thing, right?
It's very slow.
And the ride itself is a slow shooting game where basically you're kind of like slowly moving through these like somewhat themed environments.
I would have liked to seen it without the fucking goggles on.
Yeah.
Because there was like environmental theming. Like there was physical fixtures in the rooms with us, but you could barely see them because like there's 87 Marios and carts just driving in front of you.
Yeah.
Every Koopa kid known to God.
And then as you move through this environment, you basically, your 2 tasks are to turn your head towards things you want to shoot and push little buttons on the steering wheel to shoot shells at the digital avatars that are moving through the AR goggles. And then periodically turn the steering wheel to one direction or another when you get a little icon on the HUD that's like, oh, it may go left. And then you turn it to the left for a little bit. And then it's like, oh, go right. And then you turn it to the right for a little bit. And just none of it really meshes together well.
It's very bizarre.
And the feedback loop is really poor in terms of like where you should be looking and if you're hitting stuff. I found that all to be a mess. Contrasted with a few days later, we went to Disney and rode the Toy Story Midway Mania ride, which I had never done before. This is the first time I ever did it. That is my favorite shooting gallery style theme park attraction. Like, it was really responsive. There was a cool little pull cord thing on these little cannons that
physical feedback was a lot of fun.
It made a little vibration, a nice little sound whenever you pulled the cord, and you could mash the fuck out of it.
Oh
so
my
if you,
God.
If you really were going apeshit,
we went fucking nuts.
Yeah, it shot as fast as you could pull the trigger.
Yeah, literally.
Meaningfully. Yeah, so if
basically
you were
like a fucking turbo button.
Yeah,
like that,
so the loop of
enough.
you doing thing to thing happening on screen was basically 1-to-1. It was awesome, and the physics on the little like the projectiles felt pretty good, and that like
because they
you
were all
back.
different. Like they all behaved different ways. Like it was very well executed.
Yeah, you could tilt back and launch stuff further and stuff like that. And
also, it was on a goddamn bespoke screen. Like you
right.
were just like
a thing that filled your vision because it was a giant screen.
It was a giant fucking screen.
Yeah, and Mario Kart has none of that. Mario Kart, like I said, the field of view is really bad. As Lorraine described, the AR stuff, I would say even detracts from the ride because the cool set piece stuff that they have built, it's hard to see because they're just like Koopa Kids and like Princess Peach and whoever
literally
just swarming
just
past
a
you.
Fucking mess.
Yeah.
Like it would be one thing if it looked like you were actually racing, but they are coming perpendicular to you, presumably perpendicular to the direction of the racetrack. It was wild.
Yeah. And again, all this to say that like this isn't a case of the Yoshi thing because they clearly spent a ton of fucking money on this because it's a
the tech is crazy.
It's a completely unique bespoke theme park like ride system that, as far as I know, hasn't existed on anything else and hopefully will not exist on anything
I
else
hope it dies with Mario
in the
Kart.
future because it kind of sucks. But clearly it wasn't like them cheaping out necessarily. It was like I think there was probably a mandate from Nintendo that this ride had to be extremely interactive, and that somehow this is the version of an extremely interactive ride that they came up with, and I just think it's not very good. So I would not wait like over an hour for it for sure. If you end up waiting in a queue that's on the higher end, like 40 minutes to an hour, I think you'll probably still have an okay time just because the queue itself is fun to stand in and look at. So
that was my favorite part was the queue.
But
the gift shop afterward was all like because you can just walk into the gift shop, but the like bespoke like Mario Kart-esque advertising they also had in there because they've been doing this since back in like at least I don't know if they really had. Probably not in the not Super Mario Kart, but Mario Kart 64, where they make like in-game just like advertising to put on the sides of the track. They had stuff that I haven't played a Mario Kart game super recently, so I don't know how much of this is just like lifted from the games or completely new. But that was really fun to look at. Like that gift shop and the other main one in the Mario area, all three of the ones in the general Mario area were all like so uniquely themed despite having similar elements, and they were really fun to just be in.
Yeah, for sure. But again, going back to like theme park strategy and satisfaction, don't wait. If you wait over an hour for this, don't. You're just wait till later in the day.
Yeah.
It'll go down.
Like
if it's like 3 p.m. and it's 90 minutes or whatever, like Lorraine was just saying, don't wait in that line. Just wait for the line to get shorter. If it's 60 minutes or less, you'll probably still have fun just going through the queue. And if it's even lower, like I said, I think you can probably easily get in 30 minutes or less on most days
I think
if you're
I've
willing to
seen
wait
it a
until
couple times,
the pretty close to the end of the day.
Because while we were at like other parks after we left Epic, I was still like, what's Donkey Kong at? So I was checking everything else too, just out of curiosity.
And yeah, so if you wanted to like either ride it multiple times to actually try to get a better handle on the gameplay, or again just to ride it with a relatively short wait, I think that's very doable. And I'd even consider it one of those other days, but we had so much other stuff going on that like, and again, it was so unsatisfying. I was like, oh, we could do this again, but do I really want to do it again? I'm sure we'll do it again the next time we go to that park.
Yeah. I mean, I did kind of like
good.
it, like it, but like the gameplay stuff of it was not fun.
Yeah, and again, like I said, it was the exact opposite of that Toy Story thing. Where that's again where I can tell that like my gut instinct, like gameplay design takes is like, oh, I can tell that whoever put this together knew what they were doing. In the case of the Toy Story thing, and for the Mario Kart. Somebody either didn't know what they were doing or there were like conflicting directives or both.
I mean, I could see it.
No part of it feels great.
Because it is both a ride and a game type thing.
Yeah.
Like there's so many constraints and so many levels of like red tape and bureaucracy that you're going through to get this working. Like I could see it like it could have just been a mess because like that's what just happened.
In another like decade, I do wonder if they'll do like a second pass on it because I would say they'll probably need 1 to 2 expansions to the Nintendo world before they'd ever think about taking something down for like months to the years to refurbish it in the way that you would need to change this to make it less bad.
Yeah.
But maybe if they add an expansion or two to that land in another 10 years, then like I would suspect that like hopefully that stuff will be better, and then by contrast this will look even worse, and then maybe they'll go back and like fix it up a little bit. But not great. But again, still fun to be inside of, and especially the queue was fun to go through.
Yeah, that whole queue was so cute.
Yeah.
I had so much fun.
And I think that, honestly, unless you have something else really specific...
The Toad Cafe was adorable. Oh
yeah,
and
that's a thing worth noting.
Restaurant in there.
That was another thing that I think we both enjoyed about Epic is that I thought the food experiences in that park were also better than
it was incredible
on average than any other theme park.
It was
I've
kind
ever
of
been in.
life-changing, and going back to like Disney afterwards, like kind of actively bummed me out.
Yeah, because by volume, all the restaurants, the food was pretty good. I didn't eat anything that I was actively like, oh, this is gross, and this has been sitting out for 4 hours. Like there was nothing in that tier. Everything was good to like.
It's all pretty unique too. Like they have a lot of offerings, like across. They have a lot of standard stuff, but there's also like enough variety that it's not like, oh, I'm going to get the Mario cheeseburger. I'm going to get the like Harry Potter cheeseburger.
Yep, and then
for lack of a better
and then each of the
item.
worlds has at least one restaurant that like. So I really like what they've done with the way that they structure the restaurants, and that like. There are 2 actual sit-down restaurants in the park hub where you like
normal restaurants.
Right, where you traditionally have a reservation and you go up and they seat you, and then a person comes and takes your order.
You get a waiter.
Yeah, you get a waiter. The thing that they've done to split the difference that I prefer to a sit-down restaurant personally is that they have made a bunch of really well-themed restaurants. Each area has one.
Incredible. They're amazing. They were some of my favorite places to just exist.
Yeah, it's fun to just be in them and look around at how well decorated everything is. Yeah. And then it's as long as it's not like crazy packed, it's open seating.
Yeah.
So you just go in and
Find
again,
a table.
if it's like if you hit, that's another like theme park strategy tip. If you eat either before or after peak meal times, you can go into these places whenever you want.
There's just seating.
Sit down wherever you want. And then you just scan a QR code on the table and you order through the app and they bring you the
incredible.
Food. And so you get like more extended time to just sit down and chill out, like because you're going to be walking a bunch, you're going to be tired.
You're not like waiting for a server to come and like take your order and like bring it back.
This whole time you're just kind of relaxing, taking in the ambiance or whatever, and then eventually somebody brings over the stuff you ordered.
They go right to the table, like drop the food off, and they're like enjoy, and they disappear.
And you eat it. Assuming it's not like super busy, because obviously if it's more packed, they're gonna probably like get on you to turn over or whatever. But if it's like moderate busy to light busyness, you can just chill out there as long as you want. Just keep hanging out and looking at stuff and just resting, and then leave at your leisure. The prices I would say are like mixed, but I felt okay about it for the most part because I think on like the cheapest Disney food was a little cheaper. Than the prices we paid for the equivalent Universal meals. But yeah, it also felt a little cheaper, so I guess
shout
you
out
might
to
get what you pay
those
for there.
Hollywood studio waffle cone savory dishes. Like I'm still thinking about them. Yeah. They were so bizarre but so good. Anyway.
Yeah, the seamlessness of it all in that park, that was one of the things you could tell, like, oh, this is a brand new theme park, and they thought about this, and they wanted to make the experience the same across the board.
It felt so nice, because we were at Epic both days, almost literally open to close.
Yeah.
So we were there in the heat, in the rain, walking, standing, existing in these places, being able to just, like, walk into a shaded, most often than not, air-conditioned area to just sit down, pick out food, and have it just appear was so nice.
Yeah, it was very convenient. It was very relaxing relative to, like, again, a very overstimulating, very active theme park day. I didn't have to go stay, like, because you don't have, I think some of these restaurants do facilitate going up to a cashier and ordering. Yeah.
But most of them, they'll just, like, someone will be at the door and they're like, hey, this is just app ordering.
Yeah.
And we're like, perfect. Like, go find a seat, or they'll lead you to like the entrance to the area, because they try to like have like a main entrance and a main exit, so it's not, you're not clogging it both ways, which again I get.
Right.
And designing a space with an intentional flow is so smart for these kinds of areas.
Yeah, and again, by contrast, the older Universal parks and all the Disney parks, since none of them were made in 2025 or whatever, they have varying degrees of this. Where some of the Universal parks had the similar, some restaurants rather, and some of the other Universal parks had the similar thing. We did that at the Minions restaurant. We did basically the same thing. And Disney has their own like mobile ordering thing that I think is just kind of worse.
Yeah, because you still have to like go up.
You still
have
to go to the counter and get it at some point. And there's like this loop of like, oh, you place an order and then you like push a button to check in. Yeah. To tell them to prepare it. Where again, if you like the seamlessness of Universal thing is like if you scan the table and then order,
they know you're there.
They know you're there.
Like, you can't just
so
scan
it's just
the
one
table
less
elsewhere.
like confusing little step to go through.
Yeah.
The last thing was having the freestyle machines spread out all throughout the park is awesome if you bought a Freestyle cup, but near the end of the trip I learned it's actually even awesome if you don't, because they will dispense water if you haven't bought a Freestyle cup. And that shit, let me tell you, being able to summon cold water at will basically anywhere in that park was pretty sick.
Their drinking fountains, I think, were generally better than the Disney ones. I feel like they were like, maybe it's just because they're newer. I think they were almost always at least a little bit colder.
Yeah.
And they were in ride queues. Like every single ride queue had at least one.
I feel like it was
and
like
trash cans all over the place, as opposed to the Disney ones, which they like you were lucky to see a trash can.
I don't think I got cold water once from a drinking fountain at one of the Disney parks.
No.
And it was a coin flip whether you'd get like
the welliest well water you ever welled.
Well, that was kind of like, to some degree, that's true, I think, in all of the Orlando area. But I was just going to say temperature-wise, like the Disney water fountains were somewhere between, like, you know, a little colder than room temperature to, like, piss warm. And that wasn't fun.
And the Universal ones almost always had the water bottle fill things as opposed to just the, like...
Which, again, you could tell that, like, that they have clearly added that in places where they've done new construction, because, like, Tron had that at Disney.
Yes.
And that roller coaster was awesome.
That was very
I will
cool.
say, the Tron roller coaster is one of the more fun things we did over the course of that whole, like, week and a half. But obviously they haven't gone back and, like, updated a ton of these other places. So, again, it was just nice to see, like, a brand new theme park where this stuff had been, like...
thought out and implemented really well. And, like, I mean... I'm really glad we got the Freestyle cup and with the infinite refills that one, like the one day, because like there are some unique flavors in certain areas. Like I think I did find myself being maybe a little more hydrated because like I knew that I had that as opposed, like I had the water bottle too, obviously, but like I was thinking about it more just because I was like, oh, I've got this thing, and I wanted to get the most value out of it, which I think we did. Like I enjoyed. Probably take it back when we go again. Be like, just give me a day of this or whatever.
Right.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Because they're in all the restaurants. They're outside of the restaurants. Like, they're very well placed amongst, and like, they're all themed machines too. Like, the outsides are cute. They match the areas. Like, it's a well, like, executed plan that they put into motion well, I think.
So, yeah, on the whole, we had a really good time. And I guess the last thing I'll say is that, because I think I very briefly alluded to it, but we were talking about other stuff, was that we did ride Stardust Racers.
We did.
We had a lot of fun on it.
Yes.
In the weeks since we, like, I think it was a week or so after we got back.
No, it was like 2 days after we got back.
It was, unfortunately, there has been a fatality.
It was like a week after we had gone.
Yeah.
But, like, it was like the Thursday or something after, or maybe it was Wednesday. It doesn't matter. It was after we were back that there was an incident.
Yeah, unfortunately, there has been a fatality on that attraction, and it is, I think, in the aftermath, at least, right now, it seems like everybody's doing what they're supposed to. They haven't reopened it. There is an ongoing investigation. Like, there is as of, I think, a day or two ago, there is a manslaughter investigation, which is basically just means that doesn't imply that there was wrongdoing, but they're going to find out, which is what they should be doing. Like, there should be an actual investigation by non-universal authorities to determine whether it was an improper ride function or improper, like, procedures or something that forced this person to lose their life. And, you know, once we've done all those, like, checked all that stuff off and confirmed that has or hasn't happened, obviously either they'll have to make changes to the ride or, you know, just confirm that everything was working as intended and, like, have to consider more
rigorous,
maybe more warning signage, like even more warning signage, or maybe my suspicion at this point is that probably it was due to this person's underlying medical history.
Yes, because this wasn't like a Hardy Hale individual.
Yeah.
This was someone with a spinal injury.
Which, again, doesn't put their death on them. That's not quite what I'm saying.
But
in the future,
this wasn't like someone like completely physically fit individual who like just had a heart attack because of the G-force or something like that. They don't know exactly what happened aside from blunt injuries, which is a strange thing.
So like I said, hopefully they will find out exactly what happened with more investigation.
We wrote it literally twice in the span of like 40 minutes, basically.
Yeah. And it was like, you know, it was more intense than like a family coaster, but I wouldn't say it was the most intense ride I've ever been on. Like, I would say
I've been on like faster, crazier things.
Plenty of stuff at parks like Cedar Point, are much more intense, I would say,
more like
than
roller
that
coaster parks.
Yeah,
but because this is a more open environment than someone who would go to like a thrill ride park like a Cedar Point, I think they need to be like, people maybe don't expect as much,
right,
and aren't ready for even a more milder extreme ride
and so
than you would be at a Cedar Point.
Right, that's the thing that I was going to say is, like, unfortunately, I think the reality of this might end up being that people just need to take the warnings and stuff on these rides more seriously.
Yeah.
And that, like, with the knowledge that, like, look, at the end of the day, Universal is not going to check to see if you have elevated hypertension. Like, Disney is not.
You have to, like,
Disney is not
hey,
gonna.
if you have like high blood pressure, like there were so many warnings,
right,
and so frequently. It wasn't just like a sign at the beginning. It was throughout all of the cues that needed them.
Yeah,
which was great.
Disney is not gonna be like inspect you to see if you have like a pre-existing spinal cord injury or something, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not gonna inspect your body to see if you are to give you a physical to determine if you are fit enough to ride this thing. There are going to be
the lines.
There are going to be warnings about what they perceive, from a legal standpoint.
Yeah, because
are most likely to give people complications on a ride like this. But
these things have been tested. This is an art. Like, this is a whole engineering discipline of building, in quotes, safe roller coasters.
Yeah.
Because there is inherent danger to them because they are putting the body through so many more forces.
Yeah.
And at such a speed that we cannot physically go at under normal circumstances.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, again, it's on people like Universal and Disney. It's on those companies to make sure that the rides aren't malfunctioning. That, like, the restraints and the general rides, that all that stuff is safe, and then it is unfortunately going to have to be on regular people to observe those guidelines and take them more seriously than maybe sometimes people have in the past.
Because, like, it's probably for the best, like, much as we complained about it, that the Donkey Kong ride was being shut down if there are compromising situations.
Exactly.
Like, it frustrated the hell out of me.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go on, so they're like, oh, it'll be fine.
Yeah, as
that's
annoying,
not the mentality
right.
I want when I am putting my body and my, like, well-being in the hands of a machine that doesn't know when to stop except for a catastrophic failure.
100%. As annoying as that is, and again, as compromising a problem as that is with that ride, like, if it was known from an engineering standpoint that it could not run in even the lightest of rain, they probably should have redesigned it beforehand.
Yes.
But we're here. But it's built now. It's sitting there.
Sounds like the one in Japan also has as many problems.
As I described, in the near term, there's no way they're going to meaningfully change it.
No.
And so, but they absolutely should run it within spec of the manufacturer. So if that happens to be the thing with it, where it's more unsafe when there's, like, any amount of water on the track, then
tough
so
nuts.
be it. Yeah.
Like, there you go.
Right. That's then I guess that's the unfortunate situation we're in.
3-hour plus lines for this ride because it can't function in normal weather.
Yeah. So, and the last thing I'll say that's kind of on a personal note to this a little bit is that, and again, this is no, like, I want to say this to hopefully be more inspiring to people than, like, to feel judgmental in any way. But in the lead up to this trip, I really strove to lose a significant amount of weight just to have a better experience, to be able to walk around more comfortably and to get on all the rides I wanted to get on. Mm-hmm. And I was able to do that. Like, I was able to get down from the highest I've ever been in my adult life to date, which is in, like, the 330s, probably within, like, the last 2.5 years, down to, like, right now I'm hovering around the mid 260s.
Like, that's still incredible, Dustin. Like, it is, because, like, it wasn't like you weren't, like, going to a gym, you didn't get a physical trainer, you were literally just slightly altering your general like schedule.
And I'm still trying to. Yeah. Still trying to lose even more weight than that over the longer term. But that, again, I'll say that, like, that's the only thing you can do if you feel like, and again, there are going to be some things out of your control, right? Like, if you have chronic issues.
Exactly.
That's just kind of is what it is. Like, there might maybe only be so much you can do to change that. But if it's something like, if you're struggling with high blood pressure or you're struggling with weight, there are things you can do lifestyle-wise that can change that are not easy to do.
Yeah.
It wasn't easy to do this, and it's still not going to be easy to lose I still want to lose at least another, like, 30, 40 pounds if I can make it happen. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be easy to do that, but I hope I can do it. I'm going to keep trying. But
I mean, that's at the end of the day, as long as you're doing that, then you're doing it right.
But what I'm trying to say is that, like, as opposed to risking it for the biscuit, like, if you can just barely fit in a thing and you have super high blood pressure, you might be fine.
But
coming
you
off
might
of
not
it,
be.
But you might not be, and to both feel a better peace of mind while you're on an attraction and to gain the benefits outside of that, of, like, the day-to-day life. Like, my knees hurt less than they used to. I am more confident, like, I can just walk more easily up and down stairs, or, like, just at a faster clip without by being tired less quickly.
It was last year, August, where you
Yeah.
kind of tweaked your leg.
Yeah.
And was sort of off like your feet for an entire month
and
almost.
I'm like 99% sure that like I really pulled the crap out of some muscle in my leg just because I was at that
it
point
was probably
more
just
overweight.
strain, like general strain, and it was just kind of like you hit because you said it was just like on a single step, like
just coming up the
something
stairs,
just
taking out a
misaligned.
relatively light bag of trash.
Yeah.
And I pulled something real gnarly in my calf, and it took a couple of weeks.
It was a bad bruise. Like you could see it.
To get back to like a state where I could just walk around normally.
Without assistance, because you were like, we had crutches, you had a cane for a while.
And that wasn't fun. And yeah, so all that to say is that like it is possible, especially if you have a goal in mind. That's the thing now is like I had that
He's
trip
very
to shoot
goal
for.
oriented. He needs a deadline.
I had that trip to shoot for, which really made me kind of knuckle under and take it seriously, and now I have to like try to recreate that every single day to keep on that track and still keep being healthier.
Got potentially 2 PAXs next year, man.
That's true, but but yeah, I would say that it is take the time you need and don't plan to lose 100 pounds in 6 months. I'm sure that's technically possible, but I don't think you want to do that to your body. But like again, for me that worked out really well. Of like pick a date in a year or two where you'd be like, I'd like to go do this thing, whether it's like go to a theme park or even just go hiking, or something like that, and then slowly start chipping away from the point you pick that date until the point you try to do the thing, to just try to like be a little healthier each day, eat slightly healthier or just like slightly less or both, get a little more exercise on average. Because as Lorraine described, that's all I've really been doing is just like constraining my portions more and making sure that I get exercise on a more consistent like basis. Where every single day I'm either getting more walking in than I was before or lifting weights a little bit or both, and that's helped a lot.
Yay.
But yeah, take your health seriously and definitely don't push the absolute limits of what you think you can get away with on a potentially like. Again, if you like, maybe don't go for a 10-mile hike if you don't think you can. You're capable of completing it.
It's the same thing with like the those warnings at like the sand dunes in like the northwestern part of our state. That you can like get rescued, but it costs a lot of money.
Yeah,
like
you want to if you want to be pushing yourself in like small recoverable ways every day as opposed to like taking this
one
enormous
big
swing.
Coin flip.
When you're clearly like not where your fitness goals would want to be.
Maybe roll smaller dice.
Yeah, take your time is all I'm really getting at, I guess. One little incremental step after another, and eventually you'll start to feel better.
Don't write checks your butt can't cash.
And with all that said, we're finally, I think, going to call this a pretty long show for us these days.
I mean,
but we've been up to a lot of stuff, and we had a good time. And like you said, we'll definitely someday go back to that theme park because that's a lot of fun.
I want to.
So on the whole, I would absolutely recommend Epic Universe. It's not cheap, but like I said, if you plan ahead and you pick the technically cheapest available dates, and you just save up over a long enough period of time, it is doable.
I mean, that's why we haven't done anything like this in such a long time and probably won't for a while now.
Yeah, and it was a good time.
It was so much fun.
Thank you, Lorraine, for joining me on that crazy theme park adventure.
Thanks for not killing me in our, like, it was literally, so we had like 9 days almost continuously of just straight theme park action. And I probably got not quite 100 kilometers of steps over the entire trip, damn near close. Like, of all those days, I was way more active than I normally am. And some of those days, especially that second Epic Universe day, we were both feeling it. Like, I could barely, like, move out of a laying position because I was so tired. But it was fun.
A lot of activity. But yeah, thanks again for...
They should have let me meet Yoshi. I'm still salty about that.
Someday, hopefully, you'll meet a Yoshi. But yeah, thank you for joining me on that. Thank you to everybody who listened to us talk about video games and ramble about our vacation. And
just literally the tiniest applicable pie slice. Like,
yep,
we did and saw a lot more else.
For sure. Which maybe we'll chat about more in the future, maybe not, but who knows?
That Nintendo World. I am still thinking about the Nintendo World bathrooms. They're underwater themed and they play nice music. I wish I could teleport there when I ever had to go use a public bathroom.
Yeah, and thank you to everybody who has tried Cucumber, which again will hopefully inspire us to make cool things like Cucumber and Super Nintendo World. If you would like to try Super Cucumber, our game, as we're building it, again, you can join our Discord server by going to the Cubicorn Games website and clicking the Discord link, or wishlisting Super Cucumber on Steam, and then while you're on that Cucumber Steam page, join Discord from there. If you've got a game you'd like us to play, I will still try to fit it in, as like I said, I'm trying to play more games here and there, so if you got something you want us to try out, email us at podcast@cubicorngames.com. And with all that, that will do it for now. Thank you so much for listening. We will be back in a couple weeks with more podcasts.
Bye.